Thank you. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Katie will once again be taking minutes for us. Thank you, Katie. Good to see you. We got a couple new guys in the back. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you here. To get our meeting started, first of all, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:05. Sorry for the delay. We need to read our statement of commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The Scituate Waterways Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there is a disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcomed and respected. We ask our commission members, our committee members, and all who participate to commit to these standards to support and respect our community. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
And because I have people online, I got to go through the roll call, so bear with me. I just flew in from another part of the country, so I'm all messed up. But we'll settle down as we get into it. Okay, here we go. Brian Cronin.
Aye.
Brian Kelly.
Aye.
Steve Sinkowski.
Aye.
Howard Pritzenberg.
Here.
Aye. Rick Murray.
Aye.
Dave Haley.
Aye.
PJ.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Dave Deneen, yes. Passes unanimously. Minutes, we're getting there. I'm sorry about the delays, but we're getting there. I need to get to the right freaking 7 minutes. There we go. And I'm sorry for the delay. We now have January's done, thanks to Katie. December's are just about squared away, and we're still trying to figure out the February thing. So that's on me. So I'm sorry about the challenges to try to get them out in a. My goal is to get these things finished and fixed for our next meeting. And again, I'm sorry about that. There's no new correspondence. Was there anything else that I missed? We're good. Chairman's report, and I'll ask Stephen to talk a little bit about, there's a new state law that goes into effect April 2026, requiring all boaters in Massachusetts to take an education certification course. Do you know any more about some of the details towards that course?
I know that the younger folks have to take it sooner than the older.
Yep, I know that we have to, for anybody over a certain age.
Take it online.
Yep, you've got a few more years.
Yep.
Everybody.
So next year, nobody's gonna be held accountable this coming one. Following year, only people born after
January 1st.
January 89, is it?
89.
89, and then the following year, which would be 27, would be people born before January 1st, 89. And there will be all sorts of, I assume there's gonna be a cottage industry springing up of online certifications.
Votered.com is NASBO approved. I think that's what most of the states go to. It is reciprocity between different states as long as it's on that NASBO course. So if you get it in New Hampshire, it should be, as long as it was like NASBO certified. Correct me if I'm wrong, you should be able to use it in Mass. So
Yeah, it's right on their EPO's website.
There's, if I can add to it, certain groups of people who already have built-in training will be exempted, such as merchant mariners, operators of commercial fishing vessels, public safety personnel, and qualified members of the armed forces. So everybody will be a fisherman.
hopefully my 100 ton will apply.
PJ, what was that website?
Voter.com. I think
Yeah, if you go to the environmental police and go down the page, it'll tell you.
Voter.
There's a link right there.
voter.
ED.
Or one of those.
I think it's .com.
And you can always go to the state of Massachusetts and type in voter ID.
I'll forward the link right now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mike DeMayo, anything else with
With
new
that,
certification regs that are coming?
no, that's pretty much it.
Got it.
I know it took 15 years to get it here, so that should be on record. It's come a long time.
15 years. And that will, as you guys are saying, that'll give us the ability, if we're down in Florida or up in New Hampshire or up in Maine, that's a
The standard.
standard, through the country. Okay,
Does it supersede New Hampshire?
It's pretty strict and be equal to.
Equal to.
So you can go with a sock and rent the boat.
any questions, from anybody online? Okay, great, thank you, gentlemen. Harbor Master report.
Bills went out last week. And we mailed them out last week and this week, got them completed. We've been taking payments, people have been coming in with all their correct paperwork. That's been moving along. The Army Corps was, looking around the channel, you know, the federal anchorage and the channel. And doing some survey work. I asked them to survey some of our areas. They said they've been in the marina because that's in the federal channel. And they would try to get to it, but there was no guarantees, and then they got called off to Maine, even though the boat's still there.
So does that mean they'll be back?
They may just pick up the boat and leave.
They're
They're done with what they had to do with the government.
Okay, are they surveying? Are they
They're not doing anything for us or our project.
I
And
understand.
I asked them to, you know, try to go in our areas.
Hmm.
And they just surveying the federal channel.
And how far does the federal channel go in
Goes
towards
from-
the lobster?
Goes from the
Docks.
entrance, to about where our mains are, you know, the wider docks.
Mhm.
To about there and goes a little bit into the mooring field, and that's about it.
Okay,
Actually, it goes all the way to the bandstand.
Not according to the map they showed me, but that's fine.
Mike,
What's the survey doing? It's to overlay the federal portion and other, the boundary line. It'll overlay everything. You'll be able to see it.
is that something that they do
Every couple of years.
every couple of years? Okay. And is it, again, looking at how the channels are holding up in terms of possible fill?
They seem to be, they didn't ring any alarm bells. I mean, the areas are filling, around the town pier, they're filling in a little bit, obviously, and the sides they're filling in, but the channel itself seems to be doing okay.
Thank you.
No one, the Coast Guard buoy and the New Inlet, let go. I got a call, it was a week ago from, somebody on Truant's Island, and it was up on the beach. I went out there, put my eyes on it. Then I went to Truant's Island side to see if we could get to it. I reached out to Russ Clark and to, Road Marine. We went down, pulled it off the beach, brought it down back to field A to Z, tied it up there. The Coast Guard came and picked it up, took it away. So it'll be back on station when they get around to it.
Thank you. Good.
No unforeseen expenses.
Does anybody have any questions for the harbor master?
I do, Stephen, down in the entrance to the North River, by A to Z, all that shoaling that's happening. I saw it yesterday, it seems to be really piling on. Is it any study on that or anything?
Well, we're trying to work with Marshfield to get a grant, but that got held up because Marshfield is not an MBTA community. So we're still waiting to hear back from Seaport Economic Council to see if I have to resubmit a loan to get these areas dredged.
So that would be a dredge job in there, obviously, because,
The only way to get rid of it.
yeah,
to
right,
dredge
there's a lot of fill there, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Just to echo what Steven mentioned, we both hounded the state for see where that money lies and no reply back, so I'm sure there's a grand one. But second thing is the mouth of the river and entrance to South River. No one in the Coast Guard has finally agreed to come survey to get satellite. So in case the federal buoys have to move, they'll move the buoys to the water. I don't think it's the most accurate survey. But it's better than nothing, and that's taken like 9 months to get them to do that.
Hmm.
So the last time they did that was 2012.
But the South River is tough, and I will say publicly that it's been listed in the Coast Guard and Ocean Mariners since like 2019, 2020. People just don't read it. It's a tough area. It's a hazard. State knows it. The emails on file discussing that, and
I've
it's not gonna-
reported it,
it's not
Mike's
gonna be
reported
pretty.
it.
And we're trying to correct it. We got the state money and they pulled it. That was their first start. The North River was included for dredging as well. We're gonna survey the North and South Rivers and go all the way down to the original boat ramp. That was the plan. Well, not the whole river, but just in pieces that were shoaled.
Now, the latest chart plotter updates too still have it way off.
Put you
Like
around.
anybody that's
It'll put you
not familiar
around.
with the area going in there at night should not rely on a chart plotter. It'll put
No.
you around in heartbeat.
High tide only.
Also too, I think Steve knows as well, our mooring servicer has put back all the nav reads in the rivers already. So the temporary nav reads are already back.
Also, I reached out to the Army Corps of Engineers via email, regarding the North Jetty, no response,
Thank you.
no shock there.
Understand, but at least you're trying to stay on them. How often are you trying to get on them?
Reached out to them a few times.
Once a month, something like that's great. Stay on them. Brad, name and address for Katie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brad White, 149 Old Main, Marshfield.
Yes,
Oh,
Thanks.
okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Anything else for our harbor master? Think Nothing? Okay.
We do have
Yeah, I
one
want to
other,
ask about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
we did receive a donation.
Yeah.
So there was the Dunbar, Bob Dunbar was a avid fisherman or sailor out of Scituate, with his family, and he had passed away, and his family, in his honor, due to Bob's love for the harbor and Mark Patterson's heroic actions during an event they had while sailing. They reached out and talked to me about, possible donation, and, they were interested in doing something like a boat. So we come up with a small rib. The approximate value is about $50,000. Liquid, I believe in April. So a very generous donation from the Dunbar family. And the selectmen accepted it, their last select board meeting.
So is that a new boat?
Brandy new,
How
rapid,
how long?
16 and a half feet.
And what's good for a power plant?
It's got a 90 horsepower Yamaha.
Is that gonna replace the current riverboat?
We may move that boat to the Cohasset. Just depends.
To the North Harbor, North Scituate Harbor?
Great.
Yeah, that's
Really?
right.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. So where did they actually, where's that boat being built?
China. US.
Hey, we'll see you there in a couple months.
Is it a high feld or what model is it?
Yeah.
High feld, yeah, that's the best one.
Anything else for our harbor master? Very good.
Yeah, you paid a tariff on it.
Get the motor.
Yeah, free tariff.
Financial update. Where's my friend Brian? There he is. Oh, he's. Hey,
So I think your agenda item sums it up, working group update, 5-year plan. We met and organized a plan to begin the process of collecting the data. So it's try to keep this short and sweet. We've collected last full fiscal year expenses. We're in the process of allocating those expenses out to the appropriate stakeholders, whether it's mooring, slip holders, private, public, whatever the case may be. Once we have that done and are able to allocate those monies accordingly, we will overlay long-term debt that's affiliated or associated with those stakeholders, whether it be Cold Parkway Marina or
some other projects that we have in the past. Then the third step will be to apply some level of rising expenses over the next decade. We'll use historical numbers, which will probably be somewhere in the vicinity of 5 or 6% on expenses. And finally, at that point, then we can overlay the two major capital projects on Stephen's capital plan, that being the harbor dredge and the river dredge. And we'll then be able to understand the implications of those expenses versus what revenue that we have expectation wise, and then we can put together the 5-year plan. Simultaneously, what we've done is we've gone out and done surveys. Thank you to everybody who participated in that, of the surrounding towns' moorings and also the surrounding town public marinas. And finally, the third leg, the surrounding towns that have some level of a waterway permit fee. So we have those numbers as well. So we can do a comparative analysis and then come back and make an intelligent recommendation. So that's where we are.
Does anybody have any questions for Brian? Fine.
That's Susan.
I'm sorry, was somebody getting strangled?
Susan's got her mic off.
Oh. Susan, you're unmuted.
Yeah, I didn't have a question. I don't know who was speaking. It wasn't me.
I figured it was kind of hard for you to be speaking if you were muted, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I figure you select board people have special skills.
I do not have that special skill.
Susan, while we have you on board, anything new on your end? I know that getting that donation was pretty exciting for everybody.
Yeah, that was super excited. We are really grateful to the families that showed up, and it was such a great honor for their father. It's such a great thing to do. And I think we're also going to do some sort of plaque on the boat as well, commemorating it. And then that also, and I don't know if Stephen mentioned this because I got on a teeny bit late. That is not like a permanent addition to the fleet. It would be like retiring another boat so that it wouldn't be another budget line, another thing to maintain in the budget. I think you've got it further down on the right to fish, but that is progressing, and we voted. That will be at the meeting. The attorneys looked at it and we voted for it last night. Unanimously, the select board voted for it last night.
That's great.
So those are my two updates.
Thank you, Susan. We appreciate that. We'll get to that in a minute. The other thing for marketing is a marketing group met, and Fran was, as usual, very helpful, and Mike Bierce, myself, and we're still trying to put together an opening for the harbor event. We're trying to coincide it first Friday, beginning of June, on that Saturday. We're hoping to put in about from like 10 till 4. And we'll have a little bit of an on the water, and we'll have some displays set up around Cole Parkway. So that still seems to be coming together. The town seems to be supportive of it. We're starting to work out on some of the details for that event. And then we'll start looking at the volunteers, and we'll talk about some of the marketing of the event. So again, just trying to bring everybody in. And we also went to the SHBA event at the Mills Wharf on the 20th. And again, just to sort of let them know that, the harbor's representatives want to be helpful and be supportive of the business groups down there. So we had some nice conversations with some of the people that run the business association, and that we want to try to be more involved and try to continue to highlight the harbor, not just for the users of the harbor, but for all the businesses around town. So I thought it went over really well. And like I said, Fran has been very, very helpful and trying to help introduce us to the right people. Anything else on that, Fran?
No, we're working on it.
Yep.
All I can say right now.
Yep. So we appreciate that's coming together, and could be a nice event for the harbor. Any comments or questions on the marketing? Very good. Rick, how are we doing with the harbor master feasibility study?
Quite well. It's really interesting. We just had a meeting and Steve, as usual, when and if I make a mistake, jump in. But we just had a meeting with Paul Scott, Stephen, myself, Chris Doctor, the chief consultant guy. And who else was at the meeting?
And Bob Vogel.
Bob Scott, yeah, and
Bob
Bob
Vogel,
Vogel,
the building commissioner.
building commissioner, zoning enforcement officer. And it was Chris sort of reporting back as to what, based on all the feedback he's been getting, including meeting with the Harvard, with the Coast Guard, sort of very rough square footage, not in any design way, but like, all right, we hear very clearly, y'all want a conference room to be able to handle 10 people or whatever. So we blocked out X number of square feet for that. And so on and so forth. Bathrooms, public bathrooms, closet, laundry, perhaps, you know, that sort of stuff. And we went over that. And then also separately, the feedback from the Coast Guard as to what they say they need for square footage for X, Y, and Z. Add it all up. And then Steve and Chris have put together a very nice Mongo table of what our existing square footage is, what Marshfield has, what the Plymouth one has, what Marion and so on, just to get some rough ideas, Newburyport, how. Some things that you had in there were like way too big, like you had a conference room that could probably 2/3 the size of this, like.
And there was another room that was.
And there's another room that was way too big, so we dialed some things down, and again, it's still sort of first order. And one of the things that's interesting is, he had a boat shed, I forget the exact language for it. But it was basically underneath, which is new found space. And when you include that in the square footage of the building looks like really big. But you realize that space is there anyways, because it's gonna be under the piers, you know, or between all the piers. So that's like newfound space that we're gonna be able to use for boat storage and stuff like that. We talked about having, because we want to be drier and weather resistant as much as possible. But not slats, but have the, you know, the swing doors for flooding and so on. So it was really a very good discussion, and he's gonna go back and incorporate all that and bring it in. And we also discussed, in the context of the Coast Guard, you know, our preliminary interpretation was that they were requesting a lot of square footage that didn't make sense to us. So he's gonna be going back and doing a follow-up with them. And we also discussed essentially the severability of the Coast Guard component of this. Like if it ends up that the Coast Guard either costs too much or are uninterested or what have you, well then, you know, we just and that's
continue
off the table.
Continue on.
On. So it was an interesting meeting, and it was very clear to me, just, you know, interpreting. Chris is doing a good job. He's been talking to people, he's been doing the homework, he's been doing things in an objective way. You know, comparing square footage for this and that, and really listening to us, like, in particular, Steve, like what, you know, there's different types of bathrooms, right? There's like a bathroom for the staff, so the staff can be taken care of, like when they're coming in from, you know, taking off suits and all wetsuits and stuff like that. There's definitely a bathroom shower type accessibility for paying patrons of the marinas. And then there's the public bathrooms that, you know, regular folks want because there's no public facilities down in Cole Parkway. And so, you know, what types of square footage and what sort of capabilities do we envision for each of those? And so now that was just last week, and now he's going back and redigesting that. I'm going to be coming back to rough square footages. And then once he's got a better handle on the square footages, the next step is then, you know, start blocking it out what we're actually thinking.
And we also, Bob Vogel came up with the idea of taking a look at.
Oh, that was great, yeah.
The
Marshfield Fire Station.
That's, Hummerock Fire
Hummerock,
Station.
yeah.
And the housing facilities they have there. Which would be similar to what the Coast Guard requirements would probably be.
What do they got, on 4 bunks or something like that?
Yeah, they have 2 rooms with bunks.
So then you start getting into situations like, okay, 4 males or 4 females, or 2 and 2. But 3 and 1 is hard.
6 and.
Right, either way. So then how do you outfit them? We didn't want to go down that rabbit hole too much. We wanted to make sure there was flexibility, you know, to take care of it. But yeah, it was like 4 person.
Yeah.
So
And then they had like 3 bathrooms. If 1 bathroom was just like a stall. It's like, you know, 2 would probably work. Yeah.
and they said they were, again, we don't know how much their request was driven by, you know, regulations, their regulations that they have to have, or, you know, nice to have, let's ask and see what we can get type stuff. Right. So it was good.
There's a difference between the Coast Guard's funding it.
Yeah.
Versus if somebody else is funding it. So if it's a government contract and it's being as built for the Coast Guard, then there's different requirements. But I think if they're, you know, I don't think they can really dictate.
Right.
You know, they want this, but yeah, they would probably want a shower room, like a wet room. Thing where they can.
But it was a very good conversation, and to me, you know, actually, you and I haven't talked since then, but it seemed clear to me that he's taking very seriously all the input he's been getting.
Brian Kelly.
Oh, one thing, and Paul Scott is sort of like the clerk of the works, you know, overseeing it all, at every meeting. You know, he very clearly says, and how are we doing on your calendar? Are we ahead? Are we behind? And where are we on budget? And so, you know, the answer to that at our last reading was we are on calendar and on budget, and everything is, you know, where we're
supposed to be right now.
where we're supposed to be. All right, that's it. Someone else had something, Brian?
Yep, Brian Kelly.
Yeah, thank you, Rick, for that update. Couple quick questions. So the current harbor masters, according to the assessor's office, is about 2,000 square feet. What projections are they looking at for square footage for I know it's early, but for the harbor master, and then secondly, the Coast Guard?
Yeah, so that file is very conveniently on my kitchen cabinet table to bring with me to this meeting, and it's still there securely. I don't recall 2,200 comes to mind, but that includes 800 or so.
I think our 2 buildings were smaller than Marshfield's, smaller than Marion's, but bigger than Plymouth and bigger than Newburyport.
Right, and includes 800 square feet or even 1,000 square feet, what I call that found space underneath. That's gonna be there, so it's part of the footprint. That's gonna be there regardless, so whether it's, you know, for our comparison, whether it's relevant or not, I mean, it's definitely space that's gonna be used. But there you have it.
Okay, so maybe the next meeting, if you could just help us.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great. And the second thing was, have we approached or had any discussions with the Coast Guard about their appetite to contribute more than $270 a month? If we build a new building for them, would they currently pay $270? What's the expectation a month? What's their expectations going forward to pay? Is it that same amount, or has there been discussions about their contribution scaling up in proportion to what we're building?
I think, and I don't want to speak for the town administrator, but I think the town's wants to just keep them here.
So why don't we just turn guns on them? I mean, no. So keeping them here, they could stay where they are. If we build a building, what I'm hearing then, and Stephen, I'm not directing this towards you. If we build a building, I'm hearing that there will be no additional contributions above and beyond the $270 from the Coast Guard?
No, I would say so. I've had only this is out of my zone of conversation because it's not appropriate, but I have said, you know, in passing to the TA, it's like, you know, if they're gonna be getting this new thing, we gotta be looking at the finances of this carefully. He goes, oh yeah, we gotta, you know, that's a whole separate conversation. Right now, we're just looking at how small can we make it such that they still want to come? There's definitely value in having them here, but then there's going to be a conversation about the finance. And there's been nothing, to my knowledge, there's been nothing agreed to or nothing even really talked to.
Okay, if you would keep us posted on that, because obviously us assuming this would be rather trying to be trying not to go off the rails in this, but it would crush us as an enterprise fund. You'd be looking
That
at
makes sense financially.
you'd be looking at massive tripling rates. So I just want to be clear on this, especially considering the current environment that we're facing in terms of the federal government providing funding for projects. So, but
Yeah, I mean,
that's a whole different bit. I didn't mean to even bring that up, but frankly, where they pay us $270 a month, I'd like to understand at some point what their expectations are on a go-forward basis. And this is just my opinion, and I'm just saying it. If they're not going to pay any more than $270, I'd like to know where the hell the money's coming from.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's just, it's the next couple steps of conversation. We're just not even there yet. And as you say, things are so fluid. I would not be surprised, if the Coast Guard's got significant downsizing, that they say,
Going down to 200
see you
bucks.
later. Yeah, see you later. In which case we've got a lot smaller. So absolutely, right. It's got to make financial sense. We're not going to be.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on the harbor master feasibility?
Dave hasn't seen it.
Dave Sikorsky, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Rick, for the update. I'm curious, these meetings, are they public? Is the public allowed to attend?
Well, they're really not,
Over to Steve.
they're really not public meetings, because we had the public meetings and then we'll have more public meetings, but these are more working meetings.
Okay. All right. Okay.
There's nothing-
Okay, I look for this.
There's nothing top secret in the meeting, but.
Well, no, even when the best intentions are made and then the doors are closed, the public usually races to the wrong conclusion. So anyway, if it's possible to make a suggestion, that I would make them open, things like the basic questions like the square footage. I would rather not wait a month to hear the answer. I hope we can email that earlier and have the information, but.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, I'll send you guys but again, this was their first draft, looking at the square footage, and then we all drew it on pencils, like, no, that's too big, no, that's too small. So, there's easy capability for numbers to get misinterpreted or etched in stone when they're just part of the conversation. I'd be glad to just send you folks that it's, somewhere in this scale. These are what they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the only drawings that are available right now to any of us is the drawings of our building as it sits today, the Coast Guard building as it sits today, and the 5 other harbor master buildings, 4 other harbor master buildings. Yeah. There's nothing, there's no other drawing.
Thank you.
We haven't gotten that far.
Okay, I just, I'm
Howard's
just,
got his hand up.
Howie, go ahead, please.
You're on mute, Howie.
Mute.
Still
Still
on
muted.
mute. You look good though, Howie.
There we go.
Okay, the question I have is, given what's going on, I don't know where this company stands with their deliverables in the context of their proposal. But this is for the chairman. Is it possible we might be able to have another visit by the architect to give us a firsthand update?
I think we just need to take a look at the contract and see how many visits is in that contract. Howie, I can tell you that according to the proposal that we've been working off of, a feasibility study and preliminary designs, we're supposed to go from December 24 till March 25. By March, preliminary design concepts by March. schematic design development between March and May. So it sounds like they're really starting to dig in and are really coming up with a decent concept on with all the information that they've taken in with a couple of their meetings. And now working with the group, really trying to hone in, put together a project that we can sort of see a basic look, a location, we know where that's going to be, and then a cost per square foot, so that we can start trying to figure out how the heck we're going to pay for it and what we're going to have to do to try to find ways to pay for something like that.
Yeah, as far as this one guy, me, is concerned, I was hoping they'd be able to come back, you know, at probably the very preliminary design type. Frankly, I don't think it would be worthwhile to have them come back and say, well, and have all us talk about how big a conference room should be, right? But you know, when they start blocking it out and saying this is the general direction, what we're thinking of going, where we go, I think would be very beneficial to have another update.
So I agree with that, and I'd just like to,
But again,
I'd like that to be done. Yep. I'd like that to be done sooner than later. So if you feel that it's something that the working group is in a good position by the April meeting, that gives them a couple more months in terms of the contract to be able to put something together, whether or not they're at that level. Maybe that's something that we try to shoot for.
Yeah, that's fine.
Any other thoughts, comments, suggestions? Very interesting. Thank you for all you guys are doing to try to help move this project forward. Appreciate it. Okay. We started talking a little bit about right to fish, but Mike, anything else to add? Again, thank you for what you've done to try to get this out there and try to help our fishermen in town. I think it's going to be a really, really important addition to the bylaws. It's going to really help the fishermen. I think they'll, you know, shows that we care in this community about the fishing, our industry.
Mr. Harris already spoke to it, so, you know, select board voted on last night. There was a couple questions last week. Are you email back Nancy Holt and yourself, and that's the last I heard. So they put it last night. It's moving forward, so it's good.
It's great.
See you at town meeting.
Yep. Make sure everybody goes, folks. Excellent. Economic Development Commission. I don't really have too much of a report. I keep on checking in with them. We're just sort of doing our thing, and I haven't really spent too much time with them, but we know what we're doing, and actually we've spoken to a couple of the folks on the commission on what we're trying to accomplish, and they're thrilled. So we're looking at more possibilities as we continue. Mike, Mike Gibbons, are you able to jump on? There he is.
There I am. Yep. Yeah, I can give you a quick overview of the meeting we had last night for the Cole Parkway Redevelopment Commission, if you want.
Yes, please.
So we met last night with Collins Engineering. Collins is teamed up with Woods Hole and BSC Group. It's a combination of three of them that are working on the project that have the engineering portion for the Cole Parkway redevelopment project. We had some changes in scope that changed as I discussed in prior meetings, but right now they're focused on phase one being changes for the boat ramp to make, they feel that the boat ramp that's in the Lucian Wharf area is a significant concern for flooding of Cole Parkway, and they're looking to raise that area up to, I think, 7.3 feet. And then the second phase of the project that they're looking at, these are all just phases, and then I'll get into kind of what some of the alternatives here are. Second phase would be to raise the southern revetment area, which would be from, let's say, from the boat ramp area over towards Maria's, that area that's a walkway today. They would like to raise that up to about 9 feet. And then the third phase would be to raise the entire waterfront area to 9.5 feet. And just to give you an idea where it sits today, the lowest point today is around 6 foot when the water does come in from the storm water. So those are the three phases that they're kind of looking at as how they want to approach the project. The commission kind of thought that maybe they were a little bit out of order on the phasing, because we thought the boat ramp was not a significant source of flooding for the parking lot. But we gave them all of our feedback last night. The couple different alternatives they were looking at was raising the southern side sidewalk, which is kind of from the, like I said, the boat ramp to going towards Maria's. They wanted to restore the boat ramp to raise the grade that's there, expand the green space area that's around the bandstand, which would take away a couple parking spots, but would add in a couple trees and some other permeable areas for drainage. They would raise the seawall that's behind the Coast Guard building today, which we all know is a significant source of flooding for the Cole Parkway area. They would actually put in a seawall that's there that would kind of go from the private property, the edge of the private property, to behind where the Coast Guard building is, to build that corner up, so to speak. So, and then they would put a roadway table in to raise the ramp behind the Coast Guard station. So the road that goes between, let's say, the Mill Wharf parking lot and Cole Parkway, they would raise the grade of that ramp as a gradual slope to go up to about 9 feet, so that any water that did enter from that area would actually be somewhat prevented from flowing into Cole Parkway. They would add in drainage swales to the parking lot itself. And of course, all the drainage and the grading of the parking lot would change. And they would raise the parking lot itself to about 8 foot above kind of, I don't know what water level they're talking about there, but to 8 feet from about 6 feet the way it is today. So it would go up about 2 feet. And then they would add in solar canopies near the Harbor Master building, which would be above some of the parking spots, specifically the ones that are right in front of the Harbor Master's office, out in that area. So that was like alternative number one. Alternative number two takes everything from alternative number one, alt one, and adds in a greenscape area that pretty much goes through the middle of Cole Parkway, from like the bandstand area, like up towards CVS, I would say. And then they propose converting the ramp that's there, the boat ramp itself, to a kayak ramp, which I think we all kind of disagreed that was really kind of, and the reason they were trying to do that is because they thought that would also help prevent water egress into the parking lot area. So there's a bunch of other stuff. I can't get into everything that's there, just too much to cover, but generally that second alternative loses about 75 parking spots for Cole Parkway. And all of us, I think, pretty much on the commission spoke out and said that we can't afford to lose really any parking spots. So we asked them to go back and kind of look at that before they even propose that to anyone else. We asked them to look at several different things that were on this list and kind of come back with some alternatives, because it didn't seem to be meeting the objectives that we set out on the front side, that were our goals for the project. So the next couple things with those guys that they're looking at is they are looking to do some public meetings, which of course are part of their scope of work. One of this to introduce the project to the town itself, to other people. And then the second meeting would be to present the alternatives after they're amended to the folks of the town, so that everyone can give input as to what the town thinks needs to be done. And then the third meeting would be, once they've kind of settled on those alternatives, to present those preferred alternatives to the town. That's kind of the nutshell of the meeting. We're not meeting again till sometime in April, but that was what was discussed at last night's meeting.
Questions, Mr. Murray?
Hey, Mike, it's Rick. Has there been conversation with Chris Doctor's team, the Harbor Master Office folks? Because they, of course, are going to be doing some work or proposing work, around the Harbor Master building and grade levels, just to make sure that, everybody's very, very preliminary right now. Your team as well as Chris Doctor's team, but is there good communication between them, just to make sure that we don't go down some hole that inadvertently precludes something.
Yeah, so Corey, that's on the commission with me, she actually spoke up and said that they're actually coordinating the efforts between the two different groups, right? So that anything that's kind of being looked at for the harbor master proposed building would tie in with what they're looking at for the parking lot area. So yes, they are coordinating that.
Good.
Mhm.
I mean, both projects are years away from actually happening.
Correct. Yeah, we're still obviously
but I just
still in
wanted to
the
make sure.
still in the early engineering,
Yeah.
phase
Sure.
of this. Yeah.
And I'm just curious on why they want to have a canopy.
Call them solar canopies, and they propose them in a couple different spots. I don't think it's a great environment for it down there where they were proposing it, and some of the areas that they had put it. Personally, I think kind of blocks the view from people that are looking out to the harbor. So I can't imagine that's going to be super popular. No.
Okay. That caught me sort of off guard by having a canopy or two down there. And you're right, it's all about the view, and it just
Right. Yeah.
especially depending on which phase you go through, and regardless, you're going to have to take those revertments and increase them, 2-3 feet. I mean, it's going to make it a little bit more challenging to really show off the beauty of our harbor. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
And that area that they call the greenscape area in the middle, yes, would it be beautiful? Absolutely. But can we afford to lose something like 75 parking spots? No, the parking's already tight down there during the summertime. And one of the primary concerns of this whole project was to gain parking in different areas of the harbor. So losing 75 spots would be a major concern. So can't go that way.
Also be a bit of a challenge, I think, for the annual fair that happens down there, right in the middle of where the fair usually sets up. So, but
Correct.
any
Yeah.
other thoughts or questions for Mike on that? Thanks for attending and staying on top and giving everybody a heads up on it. Sounds like it's going to be quite the project. They haven't had any other timelines besides getting through the various public meetings. And then also, is there any funding mechanisms that you've been talking about, how it's going to get paid for?
There's been several discussions on that. I don't think anyone's had anything definitively that we can apply for from a grant standpoint, but Corey's been handling that piece of it. So yeah, I think the idea here is to get through this engineering process to try to figure out kind of what's really needed to prevent the flooding, and then to look kind of what phases we need to do to kind of tackle the project and where we can get the funding from.
I'm talking, I think, more as a homeowner than waterways, because that's more of a town issue. Any comments or thoughts on Mike? Dave?
Mike, it looks like you're already looking out for that back boat ramp. We use that quite a bit. I know it's pretty old and decrepit, but all the guys down back, that's used like pretty regularly. So I appreciate you sticking up for that, not turning it into a kayak ramp right off the bat. So yeah, we use that quite a bit.
Mike and I use it too for our
Well,
whales.
yeah, I mean, a lot of guys use it, but I know for us in particular, it's a pretty busy spot.
It is, yeah, and I think I don't think they had any idea what they were going to be up against if they try to go down that route, but I think they got a little bit of pushback and realized that, that's not a good alternative to make that into a kayak ramp. So the original, Alt 1 was talking about raising restoring the boat ramp, and I thought that was great, right? Because it needs some resurfacing, it needs some work. And then they were going to talk about putting kind of a hump, so to speak, a gradual hump at the top so that it could prevent water ingress in that area. But I told them, listen, I've been down there for a bunch of these storms. I don't ever see water coming in from that direction. It comes in from the northeast side and pushes from the northeast down through that area. If anything, it's going out the ramp, right? So
yeah.
But
Anybody else?
point taken.
Thank you. Dave Sinkowski, any updates on shellfish?
No, I don't.
Okay. Howie, anything more? I've been seeing some online some updates on Pier 44. Do you have anything on Pier 44 and what's going on? I know that they're trying to continue on getting some permits, and they've had a couple good meetings in the past month.
As a matter of fact, the next meeting is tomorrow night on Zoom, and this is the last meeting that we had was May of 2024. So I have nothing to report until after tomorrow's meeting.
Very good. Thank you. New business. Does anybody having they want to bring in front of the commission? Yes, sir.
The fishing boating access awarded a contract to do work down at Jericho boat ramp. I'll have the particulars, I can send them out.
Great.
The dates that they're proposing,
Do you have any idea what they're proposing?
grading, lights.
Okay. So a fairly a big project.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, most of it's just grinding up the parking lot and
Yep.
repaving.
Maintenance.
But it doesn't take particularly that long,
Any timeline?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be this spring. I'm waiting to hear because they just awarded it.
Oh, very nice.
I just got notified.
Okay. Mike,
Let me get back to the shelf, I have a couple of things on that.
No, it won't be till like.
Actually, just posted online on the websites that the South River West area, which is like the west side towards Marshall, is open. It's really a technicality, no one's really been over there, but that portion is open now, which opens up more areas for shell fishing. Harbor testing is going well, all our samples in the harbor have been going pretty well. Where I was roughly thinking probably about 2 years off from opening the harbor conditionally, so which is good, we're getting there. The area in the South River around the island where everybody kind of goes in the South River where we walk out to, it's probably about 8 to 10 more acres of ample shell fishing area. I'm hoping to have it open by January 1st next year. We need 7 more samples doing the open runs to open that up. Unfortunately, it won't line up the timing of this year's shellfish relay of 200 bushels of cohogs, but come January 1st, that area south of that closure line will be opened up hopefully. So
Where's that again, Mike?
it's the area around the island that we currently go in the South River.
Oh, yeah, South.
If you look at Ipswich, they lost 300 acres and we're slowly getting some more area back, which is good. So it kind of sits between 2 testing stations that test it perfectly fine every time, but you need like 15 additional runs to have it open. So January 1st is the date for that. So
and how often are those runs done?
at least once a month.
Okay.
We just did it last week and we're gonna do another one next week as well. So that way we can hit January 1st for next year.
To meet the state requirement. Nice.
And then we'll do the 200 bushel relay probably, hopefully June, July.
Mhm.
The other different 60 days. So we'll hopefully hit that as well, so. So we'll probably hit the areas that we hit last year again.
Yep.
And then we'll have more area come January. Oh,
When you say the island, you're talking about Charles Island?
this is South.
So.
No, I'm in the citrus side, I'm on side.
Okay.
It's right next
It's
to
the
the
marsh,
closure.
it's just a big marsh.
Yeah, it's a big marsh.
Wait, next to Hatches. Oh, come on, you don't know where you're going? The greenhouse, you know, the lime greenhouse
Oh, yeah, that's where we park.
across the street.
Yeah,
That's the closure line from here to Grandview Ave.
Right,
So that whole marsh island behind it will be open
I see, got it.
January 1st next year.
Okay, south of the greenhouse. Good work.
Any other new business?
I got one thing, Dave Doffany, 356 Clap Road, safety survival training will be held in Scituate on March 24th. Through the fishing partnership. So it's designed for fishermen, including crewmen. If anybody wants to sign on as my crewman, you can get trained for free. It's a great course. I took that in the instructor course, because you spoke. I have to instruct the crew when they come on different things, so, but it's nice to have it,
So,
Dave, right in our own town, right?
Yeah,
It's at the, So it's a EPIRB, signal flares, fire extinguishers, overboard recovery, flooding and damage control, dewatering, immersion suits, PFDs, and life rafts.
Is it the 2-day or the 1-day?
That's a 1 day.
And
is
where,
it at
where,
Fire Master's office?
No, it's at the Stellwagen Bank, the old Coast Guard station.
Yep.
Okay, so that is on March 24th from 7:30 to 4 p.m.
Are they getting in the water?
I don't know, but when I took it with my wife, I forgot to tell her about that.
I was there.
Yeah, oh, that's right, yeah.
Tell John Robertson to go in the water. He's a good friend of mine. He runs that.
But it's a great thing for it's put on by Fishing Partnership. There's no charge to it. I'm taking it as a refresher because I'm not deploying a life raft every day, but you'd like to be able to keep that.
Great course.
Yeah.
Virtual skills.
Yep.
is that something that we should talk to Mike Bierce about putting out online, with social media?
It would probably be a good thing because they'll take reservations on it. I don't know how many people they'll take, and I don't know. You know, you must be all set on all that, right? Do you take a refresher?
I take a refresher.
You know,
I mean, I'll see, it'd be basically, it's an official day for us, but.
no, I know, but
I mean,
to drive across the harbor instead of going to
no,
Gloucester.
it's definitely gonna work, absolutely, I mean, I know they've done a lot on Instagram, I've been seeing it pop up quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, hopefully, full class.
If it's okay, I'll have Mike reach out to you and maybe.
Yeah,
he
I can
give you some
forward
information.
this to him and then he can put it out there, just. If not for captains, just for people that may be gonna work on a lobster boat this summer,
Sure.
but they should have that.
Well, it's here. Why
Yeah,
not?
it's right in the backyard. I mean, I've driven to Plymouth and I've driven to Gloucester to take it, so it's.
And-
Marshfield.
We done Marshfield last time.
Yeah,
They also do first aid, which is a different module.
they touch on a lot of things, but it's.
For your 2-year first aid renewal,
Right,
they are certified to do that, and they do it with Mike or in Plymouth. So,
And cost?
Free.
Free. Even
I
better.
actually donated them a 6-person life raft last year. It's actually a good thing to do because their funding depends on how many people they put through the school.
Right.
Every year, so the more people that do it.
Yep.
I keep the same funding from year to year and it allows them to keep doing.
and we worked on trying to get it local, like it was at Green Harbor, it was at
Yeah.
the last time we took it, try to keep it in, sometimes Scituate. Doesn't get that nod, it's New Bedford, Plymouth,
Hmm.
North Shore, so.
Well, good information, Dave. Thank you for
Okay.
bringing that up.
Yeah.
Craig, how you doing?
Good evening, good, how are you?
Good. What's going on with the police?
Nothing new on the waterfront, it's no slow down.
Yep.
Mike touched on the water samples already, so we've been running scheduled those, they can miss tomorrow. But we're gonna move right along with those, and they've all been good.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Okay.
But, environmental police has talked about doing some of those boat and certificate qualification courses at the station right here in town. There's no dates set in stone yet, but they just talked about, so there probably will be some announced, hopefully.
Great.
Wait in time.
That's good to hear. Fisherman, lobsterman. Dave, Evan, how's the fishing?
Fishing for us is over.
Okay.
They ended it, February 1st, and then the wedge, the federal area was open. And then it was closed because the judge shopped and found a judge that would shut it off, so everybody had to bring gear in by March 1st, and I think 1 or 2 guys might have been finishing up the last couple days, but, yeah, everybody's out of the water for lobster until May sometime.
And then did I just hear that the speed limit requirement is back in place?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's not an issue in my boat, but, but yeah, there was a couple whales that had come in and struggled around P-Town for a while. And then they were all up off of Jeffries, and then, all of a sudden, like overnight, there was like 44 whales in the bay. I haven't looked at one of the flyovers here within the last couple days, but yeah, they all showed up. Hopefully they'll leave just as quickly, but. Yeah, that's what's going on with lobster, and really. Not much this time. I know they've had an issue with some of the guys fishing those pop-up buoys, the acoustic buoys, have gotten hammered by a bunch of big scallopers that had come up from New Bedford big full-time boats. Have scoured a couple areas where those guys had a lot of gear tucked away. And they can't even, Tucker said he saw one of those guys leaving the other day and they grappled all day and came back with nothing. So
Wow.
they're out a lot of gear plus a bunch of pop-up buoys, so.
Good. Kevin, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
I mean, the weather's been tough,
Yeah.
fishing's been okay.
Okay.
We're still not exactly 100% sure what our rules and regulations look like for next year. Got a couple changes with that. So we won't really know anything until probably when it opens, May 1st, if it opens. I do a lot of that whale research work. There are about 50 whales in the bay right now, so they're there. They seem happy for right now, but we're doing a whale tagging program down there in April. We'll see how that goes. A lot of that stuff we do is, I think, coming to an end. A lot of that funding is getting wrapped up a little bit. That's really about it. It's kind of a, this usually the time of year when it really cranks up for us, but it's all weather. The weather's a lot of wind.
Yeah. Blowing tonight.
Yeah.
Brad.
Hi, Brad White. When you say whales, are you talking about all right whales or
Yeah.
right whales and humpback?
Right whales.
All right.
That's all we do is just like the right whale research.
Yeah.
And I don't think I gave you guys a heads up. It was a very, very busy season for the endangered sea turtle population. We had a lot of, it started off really slow and then we just got hammered when the weather came in and there were like close to 900, almost 1,000 turtles that washed ashore. We were pretty fortunate and we were able to fly out almost 700. So we didn't lose as many this year as we have in the past. So, but a very active area for a lot of different types of sea creatures out there. A lot of different activity. So we'll be at it again next year.
Where were they?
Generally, what happens, they enjoy the whole bay during the season, and then when it starts getting cold, they generally wash ashore along East Tim, Wellfleet. That whole stretch of shoreline. So there we have the Autobahn out there after each high tide for about 6 weeks straight, checking everything. When they find them, they get them rehabbed as quick as they can, and then up at New England Aquarium, and then also down in Bourne.
They warm them up.
Yeah, and then once they get to a point where they can travel, then we put them in airplanes and fly them to multiple locations up and down the East Coast.
Drop out of the plane.
Kind of like,
No, we don't.
kind of like ice for turtles.
Wow.
Yep, everything from going to Jekyll Island all the way down to the Keys, SeaWorld, a lot of the aquariums up and down. So down in Florida, because it's such a big business, they got sea turtle hospitals up and down the coastline. So they all seem to come up here, and we're the epicenter of sea turtle sport.
Up to about 350 for 20 minutes.
Any questions from any of our participants that are joining us, gentlemen?
Hello, my name's Dave O'Toole, like Bryce O'Toole.
Hey, guys.
And no, we just bought the Herring River Marina outdoors with brothers, so we decided we should probably, start taking place, I guess.
Well, congratulations. We knew that it turned over. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
From La Raza?
LaRusso, yeah. Pete and Mike.
Really?
Yep, Mike, yep. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll be here for a long time.
Wonderful. We meet monthly and happy to have you here and always curious to see what we can do to be supportive.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just want to learn, so I was like, I might as well start coming to them.
Great.
Don't learn too much.
Does anybody else have any thoughts or questions or anything? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Let me do the roll. Brian Cronin,
Aye.
Brian Kelly,
You got mute.
you.
Absolutely, aye.
Thank you, sir. Dave Sinkowski,
Aye.
Howie,
Aye.
Rick Murray,
Aye.
Dave Haley,
Aye.
PJ,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and myself, I, passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in April.